Dr. Dare live on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to the Dr. Dare Show. Um, we are going to have a impromptu show. Excuse me. Oh, our special guest couldn't make it tonight, so of course we knew the show must go on. So we are going to talk about what do you think is holding you back in your life, or any other questions or items that you want to bring to the table, mental health, hot topics, or whatever. But welcome, welcome, welcome to the Dr. Dare Show again. My special guest had a family emergency, so they had to cancel. So things like that happen. So we're still going on. Hey, Angela. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. You're the first one on, Angela. And so what I was saying, Angela, is that our special guest had an emergency. So I'm making up a topic, which I already did, and it will be, what do you think is holding you back in your life, if anything, or any topics that anybody wanted to bring? So, but right now we're just checking in. I know I just saw you, Angela, but how was your week so far? I know mine went pretty fast, and um, what's hot topic on the news right now is the Ukraine stuff and the Soviet Union stuff that's going on. I haven't been keeping up with that. Um, so I don't know. But yes, yes, yes. And it looks like COVID cases are going down. Yep. So Andrew, you said you've been busy, but good, 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 good. So yeah, COVID cases seem like they're going down. It looks like mask mandates are kind of slowly going away. Um, and what else? What else is happening? Let me pull up Ukraine and yeah. So make sure when you come in, click share, share this video, share this video, share this video. Um, oh, yes, yes, yes. So if you're just joining, our special guest had to cancel. We'll get him rescheduled when he's available, but we're still going to have our show. And yeah, so when you come in, click share. Who are these? Oh, Angela, are you on the road? Are you heading out tonight? When you come in, click share. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody to the Dr. Dare Show live on Facebook and YouTube. Once again, I had to bring up a topic really quickly because our special guest had a family emergency, so couldn't come on tonight, and we totally understand that. But the show must go on. So I created a topic. What do you think is holding you back in your life? And or any other topics that you want to discuss. And we will get started at 8:40 like we normally do. Um, so, yes. Oh, you're getting ready now, Angela. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. And once you come in, everybody, click like, click share. Um, you know, we have a lot of. I'm lining up special guests now for future shows, so be prepared for those. Um, yes, things are going good on my side. Just staying busy. As you all know, I announced my book. Hey, Karen, just saw you too. Just saw Angela. um, yeah, so I my book is almost done. I'm getting ready to get a web page built for that and start the publishing stuff and get a publicist and all of that stuff, and get that on the road. So I have a lot of things in the works. I'm getting other guests to come on. If you know anybody with a story that wants to share it, pass them my information. Love guests when they come on because we learn so much from them. Thank you, Angela. Um, yeah, we learned so much from our special guests, so we like them on the show. Like last week, Don Vinny Boykins, everybody loved him. They've been talking about him since the show was over. Lola, they've been talking about her and her experiences that she brought to the show. Um, we had my mind just went blank. We had hold on, so I can remember. I'm still here. I'm still here. We had Erica Bennett with her book called "A Jealous Person Will Kill You." Literally, remember her? Her story was amazing. So yeah, we've had a lot of good stories on. We've had Stephanie Bagley. Can't forget her. She talked about trauma bonds, which I was just blown away with that topic. So we've had a lot of good people, good people. Karen saying hello, everybody. I know some people can't see YouTube comments, but Karen saying hello, everybody. So, and yeah, and Angela also said, hello, everyone. So, again, if you're just coming on, our special guest had a family emergency. So, we're doing this impromptu topic, which I can just talk about anything. It's gonna go. And so our topic tonight will be: what do you think is holding you back in your life, or what other things did you always want to ask on the show or talk about? You can bring those. It could be whatever. Again, we're just exploring this topic tonight because things happen in life and you have to learn to adjust to whatever that is. And so that's where we are tonight. Yep, yep. So, yeah, we will get started at 8:40. We won't stay on long, especially we don't have our special guest. And but the show must go on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh, oh, I need dates. I need dates. So yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. I came home. I made this huge salad and threw all my ingredients into it, and now it's in the refrigerator. All of the flavors are coming together. So then when I get off of here, I can eat my salad. So I've been meal prepping for 3 weeks now. Yeah, and not eating a lot of carbs, no carbs. I mean, complex carbs like veggies and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the journey I'm on right now, trying to stay healthy as I get older. It's very important to make sure you're eating healthy foods to help you live longer. Thanks, Karen. I'm excited about it too to get it out and I guess start on the next one like everybody else is saying. Um, Meal prep is going good. I'm eating the foods. I know before I went and I would meal prep and then um, kind of not follow through and get bored with the food. But these last 3 weeks have been good. So. And Angela, you said I had a protein shake and I'm trying to do a 30-day healthy food kick. Yep, Angela and I've been over my 30 days. Hey Pat, how are you? Yep, I did a I've been doing it over 30 days. I haven't had any like bread or anything like that. So I've been hanging in there. Hey, Pat, how are you? So, Pat, I don't know if you saw my messages out there. Our special guest didn't show up. They had an emergency happen, which we know life happens. So I had to create a topic, but everybody can bring whatever they want to talk about, ask a question, and we can discuss it. Or I threw a question out there like, what do you think is holding you back in your life? Oh, Angela, you say you like to take breaks too. Yeah. I'm doing it so by the summertime I'll feel the way I want to feel and look. You know how we do Aries wise, Angela. Um, I'm good, Pat. Just week went by fast and just got a lot of projects going on and up and coming, scheduling up and coming guests for the show. And so working on that. But again, I went through a rundown of all our guests that we've had. We had the fabulous Erica Bennett with her book. Um, uh, Something will kill you. Sorry, a jealous person will kill you literally. Then I talked about Stephanie Bagley with her trauma bonds that she shared. That was awesome. Then we talked about Don Vinny Boykins, who was here last week, talking about his book and what he has going on. Reveal. Because Life Without the Father, and I need to go pick up his book out of my mailbox still. And we got so many other special guests that I'm booking right now. It just happens that this guest didn't make it tonight. So let's get started because, like I said, I don't want to keep us on. If any of y'all have any questions that you want to talk about, just put them on the, just type them in the chat and I will read them and help you talk about them. So, does anybody think there is something holding them back in their life that's keeping them from being the best version of themselves? And Karen said, I started a 10-day cleanse and I feel so much better. Good, Karen. I was a little weak with my just eating little carbs, and now I'm starting to gain my strength back. So, yeah. So, does anybody, let me put my question back up here. Oops. So the question that is before us, if you're just joining, our special guest did not make it. They had a family emergency, so we totally understand that. So we're doing an impromptu, and so you can either bring a question or you can address the question that I have up here. What do you think is holding you back in your life, if anything? Is it fear? Are you afraid to do something out of fear and anxiety? Have you not been Hey, Tanil, you off tonight? Um, Again, I was talking about for all those who are just joining, our special guest had a family emergency, so they couldn't be on tonight, but we'll understand it. Excuse me, we'll get him rescheduled. I have a few other guests lined up, starting for March. And yeah, so our question is, what do you think is holding you back in your life? And Angela, you said were you getting ready to finish something, Angela? So welcome, 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 everybody. Anybody got any questions? Anything they want to talk about? This is an open forum. Um, I'll start the question off is what do you think is holding you back in your life? I think the only thing I feel like that holds me back sometimes is not going further in certain things um or just trying different things. Angela, and that's a good point you brought up that I'm learning that all fear is not bad fear. And that is true. And if we want to look at it from an anxiety perspective, because some fear is good. Like, say, for instance, if you are um, about to walk off a cliff, then having fear of that and that fear keeping you from getting closer to that cliff, yes, that's good fear. But fear is not good when you create like you create things in your head that there's no actual threat, then that fear is no good because it's keeping you or preventing you from doing something that you could be doing. Say, for instance, people with social anxiety, if they won't get on stage because they fear like everybody's going to criticize them, so now they don't even get on stage at all. That fear is not good because it's preventing you from doing something. If you love to sing, but you're so afraid to get on stage, then that fear is not good. And so I see a couple of questions. Um, Pat says, I think fear has held me back from um, doing certain stuff in my life. And I'm right there with you, Pat. And public speaking is your big thing, Pat. Same here with it. But what I do with that is I challenge myself. Like this, for example, is something that when I started, I was a little fearful of doing it because I didn't, you're just talking to people and it's not my strong point. But now I know people wouldn't think that, but I do challenge myself with that fear because the thing with fear is if you allow it to prohibit you from branching out and doing the public speaking and all of that stuff, then you'll never do it, and then it will get bigger and feel bigger. And this is what I tell my clients all the time. And so and then Karen says, let's see. No, embracing change has held me back in the past, and I've learned it's a beast to embrace it. No, embracing change. So, Karen, are you saying the act of change is hard for you? Is that what you're saying, Karen? Correct me if I'm wrong. And Tennille says fear, afraid to step out of comfort zone, overthinking. Yeah, so you're right there with me, Tennille, because that's I have things that I want to do that are a little different than the stuff that I've been doing, but it's still that fear and not feeling comfortable. But I am going to be the example for everybody on here. I am going to step out and try those things because that's what I tell my clients. So I'm like, if I can tell them that, then I have to, step out. But fear seems to be the big topic here tonight. So a lot of people are stuck or stagnant because of fear. But like Angela says, which I think is good, fear has a good place in it. It kind of shows that you are concerned about the thing, but the thing is getting over the fear to get the thing that you're done because you don't want to look back 20, 30 years and you didn't do something because you were so fearful of it. The easy way to kind of conquer fears is what we call in therapy exposure therapy, where you expose yourself slowly and bit by bit to this thing that you're afraid of, so that eventually that thing that you're afraid of becomes not so fearful. So that's called exposure therapy. If you go look it up, it's just basically introducing yourself to a fear. Say, for instance, if you are afraid of snakes. So if you're afraid of snakes, or I'll use your example, Pat. If you're afraid to do public speaking, so one thing you can do is um, actually watch videos of people doing public speaking and kind of pick up tips of what they're doing. And then the next thing is maybe have one person in your house and you present your speech to them each day so that you're starting to slowly expose yourself to public speaking. And then one day go to open mic or something and recite a poem or something, but taking little steps to get to your ultimate goal. That's called exposure therapy. And if you wanted to try that, you can go see a therapist and they can work with you to get exposure therapy. Um, Pat says, I do push myself, but anxiety. I get it, Pat. Sometimes that anxiety is just, it's overwhelming. So I do get that. And no judgment. We all have anxiety. It looks like everybody on here has some type of fear of stepping out, like Tennille says, stepping out of your comfort zone. And Karen says, sorry for the typos. No, no problem, Karen. Not embracing change has held me. Okay, that's what I thought you meant, Karen. Back in the past, and I've learned it's best to embrace it. And that is a good point, Karen, too. because a lot of people, and I just did a video on this, is change is scary. And so when you see change, some of us rebel against it because we don't know what to expect. We're fearful of it. It's you've already know the thing that you've been doing, so you're comfortable. But what I've learned is if you just go ahead and say, you know what, I have to do this. This is a change that's going to happen. And the more you start trying to learn about that change, the quicker you will adjust to it. And I know this stuff is easier said than done, but I think exposure therapy in your own way is a good way, and you can do that for yourself. I think first things exposing yourself to like a video of the thing that you're afraid of. And what example I wanted to give with exposure therapy is like if you're afraid of snakes. So what you could do is first of all just look at a video of snake. Not well, we don't want to do that because that'd probably be too scary at first, but read about snakes and their how they function and all of that stuff, and then go buy a stuffed snake and start to touch that stuffed animal snake and kind of touch that and get comfortable with that because what I found in the therapy that I do, the more we talk about that scary thing, the less it becomes scary. So, yeah. So visual, Pat, you're saying visual, like seeing videos, right? You can do videos. A lot of people do when they're doing exposure therapy, they expose themselves to videos of things that they're scary because you're in a safe space. You're at your home or in an office, and the video is on the screen, so you know you can kind of walk out if you have to, if it gets too much. And then if it gets too much, you only expose yourself to a little bit of it till eventually you do it enough times, then that fear goes away. But a lot of us let the fear just kind of take over, and then you know it's gone. You got that, Pat? Okay, great. Because I have the same. It just depends on what it is. Um, I will scare myself to death and not do the thing. So, Karen says being an overthinker has caused me to miss opportunities. Yep, Karen, and that's what we call those ruminating thoughts. Where and that's why I don't know if I asked y'all on this. Do you believe that all your thoughts are true? Do you believe that all your thoughts are true? I'm gonna put this question up there. I want to know your answers. And so Karen says being an overthinker has caused her to miss a lot of opportunities. Yeah, because I think we do, and I've done this too, Karen. We create these stories in our mind about how something is going to be, and that's called a cognitive distortion, which is like you catastrophize everything. Like you think of the worst scenario in your brain before, say, for instance, if you have to do a public speaking event tonight. So during the day, you have these thoughts, you catastrophize it. You're like, oh, I'm gonna walk on stage and I'm gonna trip and I'm gonna fall and everybody's gonna laugh, or I'm gonna get up there and I can't pronounce the words and everybody's gonna laugh at me. They're gonna think I'm uneducated. So all these thoughts are coming in your brain when you have to do something that you're fearful of. And we call that a cognitive distortion, which means that it's a negative thought but it's not true. And what that does is you catastrophize everything without giving them the option to happen because none of it's real. And so that's why I asked the question, do you think all your thoughts are true? Did I post that? Yeah. Do you believe? There we go. Do you believe that all your thoughts are true? And Pat says she doesn't believe that all her thoughts are true. Karen says exposure therapy sounds safe. I cannot with the snakes. Like some things, some things, if you just there's no need to approach them, especially if you're not going to be in an environment where there's going to be snakes. But if it's something that's preventing you, like if that was a part of your job and you had to deal with snakes, say if you worked at a zoo or something, and that was something that you had to do, then you would probably want to do exposure therapy for that, or you're going to get fired because you're not. doing the job. And Pat says she doesn't believe all her thoughts are true. What about everybody else? And Angela says, I try not to overthink. Yeah, overthinking just is just our nervous energy, and I do it. Everybody does it. It's just that nervous energy you have when you're doing something new, or like Tennille says, out of your comfort zone, and it can create a lot of anxiety. Thank y'all for sharing these experiences. So it seems like the thing that is holding a lot of people back is fear and stepping out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And so we all understand that. But some tips that we've came up with is, try not to overthink. Um, all your thoughts are not true. Some thoughts we have, what I tell my clients to do, when you have a thought, ask yourself, is there any fact behind that? Did somebody say that? Did somebody say that thing that you're thinking about? Say, for instance, Pat, you talk about public speaking. Did someone say that you were bad at public speaking? Probably not. Um, and so that's not a true thought. And so you have to question your thoughts. And this is what I tell my clients, is this is what I challenge them. When you're having those thoughts in your head, say for instance, if you walking in a group of people and you say, John doesn't like me. In your head you're saying that. John never said that. John, you've created that story about John in your head. John has never mentioned that. So it's not fact. It's not. It's and that's why all your thoughts are not true, because now you can go ask John and say, John, do you like me? Did you, do you have an issue? And then if he says yes, then you have a fact, and then okay, that thought now has validity to it. But if you go to John and John says, no, I think you're great. What gave you that idea? So then you know your thought is not true. Karen says, wow, I never thought about that, not giving it the option to happen. I'm writing that down on my message board. Yeah. Don't act on all of those thoughts, because all your thoughts are not true. And the thing that I notice about thoughts, especially negative ones, is that they make us feel bad about ourselves. They make us, those negative thoughts make us feel bad about 9 times out of 10. When you have all those thoughts going and you're overthinking, they are negative thoughts that's saying you're not good enough. You can't do this. They don't like you. They don't, this is, they don't want you here. That stuff is not true. Those are thoughts that you are creating, stories. I call them ruminating thoughts, where those thoughts just keep going, but they're cognitive distortions. And Tanil says, yes, for me, overthinking is a protective mechanism against danger, rejection, or embarrassment. Perfect. Yep. Yep. It's like you said, your defense mechanisms. Um, and sometimes it's like Angela was saying, sometimes they're good to help you if there's real danger. But if there's no real danger, those that overthinking and that protective mechanism um, could be detrimental to you achieving goals that you've had in a lifetime. It's like me with my claustrophobia and elevators. And I challenge myself. I get on elevators because I'm like, 9 times out of 10, the elevator's not going to get stuck. But that's what my mind, my thoughts tell me, is you're going to get on this elevator and it's going to get stuck, and you're going to be in here and you're not going to. And so I have to challenge those thoughts consistently, you know. So it's not just y'all out there. I'm on taking ownership of anxiety, overthinking, all of that stuff. And I know a lot of people be like, well, you do all of this stuff. Yeah, but I challenge myself to do this stuff, because I don't ever want to look back and say that the fear um, kept me from doing something. Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. Good stuff. And Pat says, my brother doesn't take elevators. Right. See, so he allows his anxiety and his claustrophobia to prevent him from getting on elevators. Now, I've never, well, in an older building, I question it because I'm like, that's more potential for the thing to get stuck. but I try to get on them anyway and just ride them out. I have nightmares about them, like that I'm just on one and it's just going up and down, up and down, and up and down, and I can't get off. But I realize that I have to challenge those thoughts because like y'all all of y'all have said, they'll keep you stagnant and stuck and not achieving goals. What are some ways that you've conquered your fears or challenged your fears? Um, yeah, I'll put that question out. What are some ways? Let me say, what are some ways that you have challenged your fears and overthinking? Yeah, what are some ways that you have challenged your fears and overthinking? Since a lot of us have that in common on here. It's like me, I'll start it off. It's like with elevators. I know that's a cramped space for me and it's small, and my fear is that it's going to get stuck, and 9 times out of 10 that's not going to happen. Knock on wood. But that's something that I'm like, ugh. Or sometimes public speaking, but I keep signing up for things to do public speaking so that the more that I do them, the less fearful they are. I just got another job today, um, teaching certification of premarital counseling, couples counseling. So I just accepted a job doing that today to certify therapists to be prepare and enrich. Hey Kelly, so I don't know if you didn't get my messages and stuff, but we are, and all the people that just joined, our special guest had a family emergency, so he wasn't on. So we are talking about what do you think is holding you back in your life? A lot of people are saying fear, and overthinking prevents them from getting to that next level of life because and we all kind of gave examples of how we get stuck. Some people talked about public speaking, some people talked about social anxiety, um, and things like that. And so the next question that came out of that is, what are some ways that you have challenged your fears and overthinking? Tennille says, focus on reward and goal. I hate flying, but love traveling. Me too. That's another one, Tennille. That's another one. And I want to go to like Africa. And I'm like, I'm going to have to talk to my doctor to give me some kind of sedative so that I can sleep that whole trip, but I want to go to Africa sometime in my life to, you know, but I'm going to do it. Me and Lola was talking about that a few weeks ago because she has the same issue about planes and stuff. And we were talking about how to just do that, And so, let's see. Oh, thank you to Neil on the opportunity. Yep, I just became a trainer for Prepare and Enrich certification, which is a great tool if you're doing couples counseling and you know nothing about the couple. They do a survey, both of them do a separate survey. Um, the report is sent to me, is graded by the system, and it tells me all the areas that they're struggling with in that relationship. So a lot of churches use it, a lot of therapists use it in sessions. I use it in my sessions because it's spot on when it talks about those couples and their differences. And thank you, Pat. Thank you. Yep. Karen says, I don't believe all my thoughts are true. Good. Okay. I may overthink. My overthinking relates to being indecisive and not making decisions. It's not negative thinking that trips me up. I hope that makes sense. Yep. So yours, Karen, you're saying your overthinking is, um, say, for instance, if you have to pick buying oranges over grapes, you'll stay in the store for about 20 minutes just going back and forth with yourself, um, um, trying to make a decision and overthink. I have a lot of clients that do that, and then they end up not really doing anything. Karen said that's a 22-hour flight. Talk to your doctor. Oh, I know. I know. Well, Thailand was long too, and I did that one. So yeah, I would get a Xanax or something for my Africa trip. Kelly says, um, fear is the root of all evil. If we didn't have it, we would all be super successful. Yeah, and Angela says, on that note, Kelly, Angela says some fear is good, which it is good if there's an actual threat. But if there's no actual threat and you're just being fearful to go on stage to perform, sometimes then that's problematic. And and I know, Kelly, you weren't here, but I talked about exposure therapy, which is introducing yourself to your fear, to something that you're fearful of slowly. Say, for instance, if you were fearful of snakes, um, you would start by reading about snakes and how they function, and then you would go buy a stuffed snake animal, and you would touch that snake, that stuffed animal, get to feel how it feels, and then eventually watch a video about snakes, and then eventually, under the care of a therapist, have a non-venomous snake, small, maybe a garden snake or something like that, and then you start touching on that. But you slowly introduce yourself to that thing, that fear, and so yeah. Good stuff, y'all. Let's see. Got a lot of stuff coming in. Thank you, Karen. Yes, I just did that today, so I will be teaching that. Oh, okay, Karen. So I was right that you go back and forth overthinking about a decision, and then finally you finally get to that point. And some people do that and don't buy anything and just walk out the store. Kelly says being an overthinker and not just doing something when I know I'll be great at it. So Kelly, so your overthinking is not doing something because you think you're going to fail, or explain your overthinking, because Karen has a different definition of overthinking. And then to Neil, I don't know what your overthinking was. Kind of give us a definition of that. And Karen says, Amen, Kelly. Hey, Michelle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My overthinking is my anxiety of failing. And so, okay, so I think Michelle and Kelly has the same type of overthinking. It's anxiety of failing. Like you don't want to, you're hesitant about doing something because there's fear. Okay, Angela, thank you for joining. Enjoy your night out. Talk to you next week. And thank you, Angela. Yep. So Michelle's anxiety, and that's probably mine. If I start to overthink, it's usually that I'm like, oh, if I do this, then I might fail at it. So I'm not gonna do it. Uh Tennille says, my overthinking is trying to predict or over analyze people and situations. Oh, okay. So you kind of jump to conclusions, or you try to yeah, jumping to conclusions because you're kind of trying to figure out what the outcome is going to be before it actually happens. Um, yeah, and so that's a cognitive distortion. Okay, yeah, that's a cognitive distortion. If you want to know the different types of cognitive distortions, you can go look them up. Black and white thinking is a cognitive distortion. I teach these to my clients all the time. Um, black or white thinking, jumping to conclusions. Um, what's some other ones? Catastrophizing, where you make everything is gonna end in some kind of catastrophe. Um, and then which ones? That's it. Black or white thinking, jumping to conclusions, catastrophizing, and personalizing. And when you personalize, that means you say, "Oh, this always happens to me," or "This thing always happens to me. It doesn't happen to anybody else. It always happens to me." So those things that I've just named, those are cognitive distortions, and they usually make you feel bad about yourself, or they usually cause you to react to something where you don't actually have any proof that that thing is even going to happen. And Tennille says exactly, it's a control issue as well. And control is another form of fear. Um, yeah, so good stuff. Good, good, good information, y'all. Yeah, Karen, those cognitive distortions, yeah, those are things that I teach my clients because I think a lot of us do those things and we don't realize we're doing them, and they hurt us usually in the end because we either feel bad about ourselves or we feel bad about the situation before it even gets started. you know like that's just, for instance, if we go into a Zumba class and we just automatically say, oh, when we go to that person's class, it's going to be horrible. um you're not going to like the dance moves, you're not going to like the music, but you haven't even given the class a chance before you've sabotaged it before you even got there. So those are cognitive distortions that a lot of us do, and it's almost natural. I catch myself doing at least one of those, jumping to conclusions or something every day. And so once I start identifying those and calling those out, then I do them less. And I teach my clients to do that too. And it's funny, we'll be sitting in therapy sessions and they'll be like, you know what, I'm doing it again. I'm having a cognitive distortion. I am jumping to conclusion. Nobody told me that. I just created that in my head that if I do this, that it's going to end this way. And so if from here on out, if you pay attention to your thinking, you'll hear something. And I challenge you to Google cognitive distortions. What you say, Michelle? Then you better not be absent to a class. Oh, you're silly. That was just a example, uh, not a real life thing. But that is a good example, Michelle. Like if there's a substitute, a lot of people won't come to class because they think that this person may not have good music, may not have energy, may not have whatever. So yeah, you're sabotaging, you're catastrophizing a class before you even given a chance. You're catastrophizing that um, substitute instructor. Okay, Karen says, indecisiveness example. I remodeled my bathroom in December. I still can't decide on how to frame the mirror. My sister asked me today about it today. My sister asked me about it today, which makes me realize I'm still in an indecisive mode. Okay, that's a good example. Let me put that up. I remodeled my bathroom in December. I still can't decide how to frame the mirror. So, Karen, what's keeping you from making a decision? Do you think what's keeping you from just like from A and B making a selection? Okay, A. Let me just do A. Do you have a fear that you're going to pick the wrong one and not like it, or what do you think is the indecisiveness in this example? Good stuff, y'all. Yeah, I'm working with guests to get them on the show, and so I'm asking them when they. Oops, always multitasking. Yeah, what y'all got? Okay, but yeah, fear keeps us, and indecisiveness keeps us from making decisions and moving forward. And sometimes the overthinking keeps us from um achieving those goals and some stuff. So we have to be careful that we don't allow fear to control our lives so much that we're not getting anything done that we need to get done. And if it gets that bad like that, please seek a therapist because there's something more there. You may be suffering from extreme anxiety. It may be from some traumatic experience you had when you were a child or early adulthood or something, and it's preventing you from um, kind of moving forward. And sometimes it could get like that. Say, for instance, if I, like Pat, you were saying your brother won't get on an elevator. I challenge myself to get on an elevator. Good night, Michelle. I challenge myself to get on an elevator because I know in most buildings, most hospitals, you have to take an elevator. So, you know, yeah. So good night, Michelle. We don't have much longer, y'all. We've talked about fear. So I'm lining up different speakers for the month of March. So if anybody wants to come on and share their story or you've seen how the show is ran. I'm up here with you. I'm right beside you, asking questions and talking to you. So it's not like you're out here by yourself. But if anybody has a story to share, and I would love because we are learning so much from these guests that we have on. I have a few guests that I've reached out to that have written books, so they can come in and kind of talk about their books and stuff. But you don't have to have a book. If you have a story, you have a story. You know. So anyway, again, we're at 45 minutes, so I don't want to hold you any longer. Any more thoughts before we close out? This show. Thank y'all for joining. Um, it turned out to be a good show. Uh, Pat, you say your brother will walk up 20 flights of stairs just to avoid that elevator. Wow. Yeah. So he has it bad. I wonder, does he get nervous in the elevator? Because I understand it. If you don't have anxiety, you won't understand that fear of being stuck in um, you know, got it. Yep. Okay, y'all. So very bad, yeah. So I will announce the special guest for next week. Thank y'all for joining and still jumping in. Um, you know, have a good night. Challenge those fears, and I will talk to y'all next week at 8:30. All right, bye.